They'll be like rabid dogs. Well, Perpignan may not have picked Hook and Charteris, but there's a lot of esprit de cloche in these parts, apparently. The strength of the parochial spirit. And that Munster old boy, Lafemi Mafe, the Perpignan midfield today, said Munster are walking into that backlash. We are hurt. We must be proud. We must be passionate. And it's always a passionate reception at the Stade Aimé Gérald. Well, Munster still have a little bit of weight on the back foot in this pool. Their insipid opening round defeat to Edinburgh means Munster need to continue to hoover up the match points. Can they sweep the leaves from the line here in this intimidating arena? The Stade Aimé Gérald can produce eye-popping Catalonian fervour if the mood is upon them. Munster need to harmonise mind and body for the challenge here, and they are still in decent shape in the pool with a 2-point lead over Gloucester, but the pressure must be maintained. The referee is J.P. Doyle, with Martin Fox and Paul Dix, the assistants. Well, Perpignan, they were the last of the French qualifiers for the Heineken Cup. They were in the Amblin last season. They reached the semis, but they lost here to Stade Francais in the last four. And this season they've shown signs of weakness at their old bear pit here in the shadow of the Pyrenees. Can Munster take advantage of that particular fault line?
A sense from Perpignan, their frustration last week, one or two decisions didn't go their way, but they weren't good enough last weekend at Thomond Park. Let's see what kind of response, whether that frustration does stimulate. We talked about the rabid nature and whether that ability was sadly lacking from Perpignan last week. Will they show a lot more of that intensity, particularly the breakdown, because they were given a salutary lesson by Munster at the breakdown in particular last week.
Here's a key area as well, yeah, in the line out, because Damien Varley lost 3 throws down in Limerick, and we know they've been working on the set piece in the build-up to this game, taken by Donnacha Ryan back after injury, and Keatley straight away into James Downey, doing what he's done so often in the past for Northampton, carrying hard in the centre of the field, and already we're seeing signs of that Munster direct. That's Varley taking it on. Sheridan, real impetus in this opening minute from the men in red.
Two of the big ball carriers, Peter O'Mahony and Rob Downey, very effective there.
Casey Loilala, lovely wraparound with Keatley in the line. Now Johnny Murphy takes it on. This is Sheridan. Remember, Conor Murray is out for 6 weeks with a knee injury. BJ Boda. Now Sheridan once more to Casey Loilala. Johnny Murphy's after this one. Oh, the bounce was awkward there for the Perpignan defence. And it's Nicolas Giron who clears the ball to the former Munster man, Lafemi Mafe, who played in this Munster victory here 4 years ago for the Munster side.
And Munster making good yardage to those phases. Again, very passive defence. Look at them standing still.
Well, yeah,
you can't afford to lay off and low those easy wraparounds. Last week, it really was a lazy drift defence, really putting any pressure on Munster backline at all. Once again, allowing people an opportunity to roam those wider channels.
Well, we're here in rugby's Hell's Kitchen, but it's Munster who are unleashing hell in this opening stanza of the game, and it's Donnacha Ryan who takes that line out once more. And look at the energy in that Munster pack. Off goes Sheridan. Had a very impressive cameo for an hour last week in Limerick, did the Munster scrum half. And Rob Penny has a lot of confidence in his young number 9. Plenty of confidence in that man. 7 Lions test for Paul O'Connell. Now it's Keatley to Casey Loilala, and again it's that little grubber in behind the Perpignan defence, and Geoffrey Michel isn't just wrapped up, he's smashed.
Good chase by Munster, really putting pressure. Again, we're watching the teams warming up, putting little grubber kicks through. The playing surface here is not good. The ball will bounce all sorts of directions, and there's 2 grubber kicks in the opening 5 minutes from Casey Loilala, really putting pressure. The chase is really good.
I think someone's put some anthracite nuts on the Munster furnace. And the line out wasn't wholly accurate there. It was a really quick-fire throw in by Damien Varley. A lot of pace on it, hard to control. Here's O'Connell, he controls it. Such a focal point of Fulton in this Munster side for well over a decade. And it does Sean Dougal, and Dougal, who had such a great game last week, he could have been man of the match, he might be man of the match here. He scored a try after 3 minutes down in Limerick last weekend. Has he produced the same trick again?
Joined the rucks correctly after his obstruction.
Well, as is almost inevitable these days, we are going to go to the TMO to check for a potential infringement. But what a burst by Dougal, shrugging off defenders.
Whatever happens with this score, he's given or not, I like the mix in Munster's game at the start. Kicks, good ball carrying, direct ball carrying from Omani and from Downey, and a lovely pick up there. I think there's obstruction. I think there's definite obstruction that allows Dougal, who was so impressive, as you said rightly, last week. And that's definitely Downey.
Yeah, James Downey maybe just backing into the Perpignan captain Luke Narroway there and providing for Dougal
Kitty,
to
I have a decision.
explore.
Number 12 was offside and caused an obstruction.
There we go.
No try.
Confirmation from JP Doyle. He can see it on the big screen on the corner of the Stade Amy Giral. No try, but what intent?
Good blend as well. Little grubber kicks been very effective. They carried well.
Number 12, obstruction.
Really punishing this. Again, once again, very passive Perpignan defence. And you expect, we talked about the atmosphere here. A proud record they have here, Stade Amy Giral Perpignan.
I can't really hear you,
Foxy. Lacking intensity, hunger of defence.
Penalty cleared at a touch by the Perpignan out half. Tommy Allen, no Camille Lopez, he's injured, and James Hook being rested. Interesting that they would decide to rest such luminaries as Hook and Charteris for a game like this. But there's still plenty of firepower in this Perpignan side, taken by Narroway and Tommy Allen to Ali Strokos, the Scottish international. Now Gerard to the beastly figure of Bahamahina, but he's driven up onto his tippy toes by powerful Munster defending. Jacques Michel to Richard Houghton, and now it's Turan. So Perpignan just beginning with 5 minutes gone to get into the game here. 37 times cap. Ali Strokos takes it into contact, and Munster are instantly penalised there for not rolling away.
Getting very porous defence to begin with, but very evident in the attack. Different proposition. A lot of aggression in their attack, a lot of purpose in their attack. Looking to offload, we saw that last week in Coleman. Looking to offload, keep that offloading game going. Big, powerful ball carriers they have at their disposal. Really making good yardage.
You have decided to go here, and it's Tommy Allen who will take the kick. Tommy Allen, born in Italy, dad from Scotland. So a gentleman who probably enjoys little Chianti with his neeps and tatties. And here he is, just 20 years of age, came through the Scottish under-20 system, played in 2 junior World Cups. So he absorbed a little bit of the SRU budget before deciding to play for Italy.
I don't think he'd be much of a Somalia, to be honest.
Well, the man who's already been capped 3 times for Italy against the run of play, you have to say, puts Perpignan into the lead. And remember Rob Penny saying the key is to physically and mentally take control early doors. Well, physically they certainly did that, but mentally Perpignan have now got a finger hole.
Any time in Munster's half, and then 3 points up. Just about listed a barrage from Munster opening part of this game.
Oh, Phoenix Jones came powering in there. Such commitment from him. Sean Dougal then grasping the ball. And now here's Paul O'Connell.
I usually thought that was a...
Ball is there.
Well, he took off like a circus trapeze artist there, Felix Jones, in the air. Oh, poor passing. And now they're on the back foot, they're under pressure. And up comes Tommy Allen. Well, Scotland will be disappointed, I'm sure, to have lost him. And now Sheridan. Geoffrey Michel is back there. And again, off this very hard, tan, sandy pitch, the ball goes there.
It's that hard first bounce. It's a really uneven playing surface. And that ball came off Felix Jones and bounced on to Votu, so that was definitely a knock on. But again, poor passing, and that was last week. So many times last week in that performance at Thomond Park. Passes not going to hand, checking the ball, the runner going to ground. Again, that's going to play this way and look to attack the wider challenge. You've got to be precise in your passing. Because any opportunities they create and lost is a poor execution.
Well, these two last met in a back-to-back situation in 2009. Munster won both, triumphing here in spectacular fashion, 37-14. Hurley, de Villiers, Dennis Fogarty, and an 80th minute try bonus point ever from Dougie Howlett. 15 points from a lad called O'Gara, and Munster had won at Thomond 24-23 the week previously. All 24 points from O'Gara. Perpignan scoring 3 tries on that occasion. But that defeat by Munster here 4 years ago was Perpignan's only defeat in their last 23 games in the Heineken Cup. They really do have an incredibly proud record in this stadium. Nicolas Durand feeds and JP Doyle demands the reset.
It's going well for Munster last week. Also taking the opportunity to rotate the two props. James Cronin and Vijay Botha come in for Kilcoyne and Archer.
In case you've forgotten, Perpignan made the semi-finals of the Heineken Cup very recently, 2011, losing to Northampton and Milton Keynes, having beaten Toulon. 55,000 fans. I know you were at that game, Jan, commentating. Quite an atmosphere there, utilising their Catalonian heritage. And there is Munster utilising their Thomond power here in the south of France. Now Keatley to Casey Laulala. Laulala, little show and go from him, and it's tackle coming in from Votu. Keatley, he's recovered from a dead leg problem from last week. He's also got a groin injury. Will he last the pace? Rob Penny and his mates certainly hope so. Colin, good angle from the number 8. Taken on by Varley. Some good interplay between the forwards. Keatley moving into scrum half. Peter O'Mahony. Now Felix Jones got to watch for the intercept there, and the big hits coming in. Votu on Laulala.
That time, defence identified where that ball was going. Far more aggressive defence from Perpignan. Saw Laulala was going to get that ball with the pullback. Once again, good mix in Munster's game, using the direct power of the likes of Colin and Varley, driving up, creating opportunity to attack those wider channels.
Yeah, but quicker, we get there quicker.
And just waited a little bit too long. Too many steps there. And just really put pressure on Laulala to take and give that pass.
Well, the question is, are Munster becoming slightly more coherent in their blend of styles? The Sunday Times said Munster are like a bowl of muesli, some sweetness but plenty of crunch. What do you think, Jan?
It's always about a blend. I like the game planning point, but it does depend on accuracy in your game, otherwise it doesn't work. The quality of passing has to step up. It puts pressure on your skill set.
Can't make it up.
No, I meant you like the analogy, bowl of muesli.
I was ignoring that. I was moving on.
Yeah, yep.
Well, during that cup run a couple of years ago, Perpignan beat another two-time winner like Munster. Leicester here, and I was here for that one, a titanic battle, 24-19. Arrive here in this coastal town. 5 or 6 kilometres from the Mediterranean coast.
Off the mark, Munster. Pushing.
Off the mark came Munster, so off go Perpignan quickly through Nicolas Durand, who won the top 14 with Perpignan 4 years ago. They were a good side when Munster beat them here. A number of months later, they championship. Here is Durand to Luke Narroway, cup winner in the past with Gloucester, captaining then to LV success. Here is Durand, who's Geoffrey Michel, and it's Casey Loilala who makes the tackle here. He's claiming a knock-on at the base. Off goes Dan Leo, member of the Wasp squad that won the Heineken in 2007. Now Tommy Allen, and Villaseca gets it out to the form winger, arguably in French rugby, Sofiane Jitoun. Bandage being played here in those crucial extra metres made by Perpignan. Tommy Allen to Geoffrey Michel, and well, there is often a boil-over effect in these back-to-back fixtures. Grievances from week 1 continue into week 2, and maybe there's an example of that right there.
Certainly a step up in intensity and ferocity in the hits this week.
It is a feature in the back-to-back games. You know, very often you see professional players these days doing a bit of pushing and shoving. It's a little bit more than just pushing and shoving. They really mean that aggression.
What's stimulating and intensity in the crowd as well. They're feeding off this. And that's one Stade Amy Giral is about, that atmosphere. Coliseum you have here.
Line halfway.
Well, it's Votu who is down injured.
Behind halfway, Luke. I'll come talk to
He
you.
had a spell at Exeter last season. Motasoni Votu. He's got a court case coming up in March.
Behind halfway.
There was a brawl in Perpignan a few months ago, and he was allegedly involved.
All I've got to
There
go
was some
video is
talk
the rest
that
of the gap
Perpignan
here.
might sack him, but he's obviously still around.
Right to ask them to stop. Okay, they continue to carry on. Ask them to stop again.
They just kept going.
Just kept going.
In a foul play manner.
Yeah, in a foul play manner.
Was there anything of major note here?
Yes, you need to have a look over here. The actions of 1 red when he entered the tackle situation, and the reaction of 6 white of this incident over here.
Okay, so we got 1 red and 6 white here. Is it better we check this one?
Yes, have a look at what we've got.
We'll check what started. Kizzy, I need to check what started the incident over here. Okay, over on the far touchline. And then I need to look at over here near the 22 on the other side of the pitch. I need to look at the entry of the Munster 1 and the Perpignan reaction of 6 Perpignan. There you know.
This could take a while. At the varsity match on Thursday, they played elevator-style music whenever they went to the TMO. I don't think elevator music is really appropriate in an environment like this, though.
Certainly not. You want something a little bit more rousing than that.
Well, there's a hand in the face of looks like O'Mahony from Roman Terrain. Is that any more than pushing and shoving? And in comes Leo with the boot. But did it make contact with a Munster player? And then he flies into James Cronin and Judge Evans. What is your decision? What's your verdict?
Well, the one involving Romani and Terrain, nothing really there, to be perfectly honest. Bit of pushing and shoving.
So I've got 2 starting. Kitty?
I'm just see if there's another angle, but you've seen what I've got so
the
far.
man with the wig on is Rowan Kitt, the TMO. There's a little short punch maybe from Dan Leo going in towards the head area of James Cronin, and then there was a follow-up. But how serious is all that? That's the key. And is there any reason for an escalation?
I'm going to get rid of 2.
I don't think there's any cards issued here. Probably a couple of penalties. There's one waiting back there.
Okay, JP.
Okay, Kitty, thank you. I have a decision. What we're going to do is we're going to go with the action here that was started by the number 2 and then was fed back in by the red 6, okay? So they're the 2 I'm going to deal with. I'm going to speak to 6 about use of the foot, okay, at the ruck area. Just 2 captains.
No problem.
Just let me speak here, guys, okay? So what we have is what are you 6? Okay. So we have 2 started the incident, okay? But you then got involved in it, and then you kept involved in it, and 2 kept involved with it, okay? We have 6 using the foot here, so I'm going to speak to him. But you and the number 2 are going to go yellow card, okay? You can't keep... Excuse me. Hold on. Both of these got to go.
You think,
all right?
you think that's
We're going to
harsh?
restart with a penalty to
Very
Munster.
harsh.
To Munster, okay? Because it was started by number 2. 2. No, we'll talk later. 2. Tell her now. Tell her now.
There are many professionals I've heard in recent times saying that, you know, you've got to remember that rugby is a contact sport. And was that anything more than a little bit of exaggerated pushing and shoving?
Number 6. Number 6.
From the angle,
I spoke to you up there about using your arms in the tackle. We've used here. Any more foul play, you're going to leave the pitch. Are you clear on that, yeah? Right.
Well, in the meantime, JP Doyle is now talking about the potential of red cards if that sort of activity continues.
These men.
So 2 men in the bin.
Yeah, both are gone.
14 players apiece. Roman Terrain and Peter O'Mahony
Who's taking over captain,
will spend 10 minutes in the open prison here
So you know what we have to
at the Stade Eddie Giroud,
okay? Yeah.
in front of the wire fencing.
after that brief interlude. Let's move on. But I don't think it was unnecessary.
Well, that took about 5 minutes, and it blows our chances of a little bit of late sunbathing on the beach beside our hotel. But the result for the 2 teams is important, as they both lose a player.
Come on,
Munster have lost their captain, of course, and Peter O'Mahony. So here's Damien Varley to Paul O'Connell.
8!
Paul O'Connell who has started 3 Heineken Cup finals, but
not right now.
there has been an infringement from
I got to trust both teams.
Perpignan, and Munster get a penalty in a good position here.
Sanchez, who's lost most. Perpignan have lost their hooker. But Tidomani, much of the good part of Munster's game this season will revolve around Tidomani. His ball carrying ability, very direct, aggressive, abrasive.
When I know that I can't play advantage, I will play advantage.
How do you blow the Munster?
Well, he was your man of the match against Gloucester, played extremely well in that game, didn't he?
He was outstanding.
So a chance to level things up for Ian Keatley. 3 from 4 against Perpignan last week before he went off relatively early in the game with an injury, and 5 from 5 against Edinburgh. So he's been in much better form off the kicking tee in Europe than he has been in a Munster shirt in the league. Maybe he enjoys the extra pressure, and there's plenty of it here. Listen to that crowd. Well, it's a beautiful kick from Keatley, and there is a man who does thrive on the additional pressure of the world's greatest club tournament.
Strike there of the ball. By Paul O'Connell. The drive coming in, and again, Luke Nottoway coming in from an offside position, giving away the penalty. It really was a nice strike from Keatley there.
Tommy Allen picking up all 3 of those Italian caps in the November series. This auto of Pico's, the charge down by Houghton. Unfortunately, it bounces the way of Ian Keatley.
Very fortunate. That ball could have gone anywhere.
Off goes Geoffrey Michel. He's got Luke Narroway on the switch if he needs him. Tackle from Cronin. Beautiful to Narroway and Houghton. Paul O'Connell pounces on the ball.
Fight him out!
Sheridan. And it's James Collin to Keatley, and the defence was up in an umbrella formation there for Perpignan, so you had to be careful on the outside. Here's Cronin to Keith Earls. Keith Earls to Sheridan to Ian Keatley, fires it to James Downey. Now it's Casey Laulala. And now Felix Jones for Johnny Murphy to chase, and Jones is after it as well. Should he have kept that ball in hand? He's given the ball back here to the Perpignan defenders, and they're off here through Maffei. He is a feisty man today, playing against his old side. Oh, what a break! What a break it is by Tommy Allen. He's completely on his own. Is he caught late by Felix Jones? And the crowd was demanding the penalty, and JP Doyle agrees with the roaring 12,000 here in the Emi Gerard.
No.
I think this in whether you might have given a yellow card there if you hadn't already awarded 2 yellow cards in the game.
Goal line.
Well, obviously this penalty could be taken from where the ball landed as Richard Houghton receives a little bit of treatment for a blood injury. And after all the excitement there, we're going to go back for a penalty right in front of the sticks.
Okay, now.
From Tommy Allen.
I'm just going to be careful. There's some lovely grubber kicks at the start of this game, but you've got to be any loose kicks. Perpignan will look to counter-attack. They did last week in Thomond. Loose kicking will be punished by Perpignan. As you see Richard Houghton going off the field. Kept the ball alive while here. It's very good to stay infield.
Yeah, if we have
a
one.
lovely counter-attack.
Yeah.
Again, identified a prop. Allen did, looked up, saw who was there. BJ Bota was up against it. Whether or not that was that late.
Did he not tackle him as he kicked it?
A bit harsh. First glance, you looked at it, was that a possible yellow card? You look at it again, and we have obviously you look at it in slow motion, another second chance, now look at it. It might have been a bit harsh.
Well, in New Zealand, they talk about keeping your blue head. Munster have got to keep ice in the mind now here as they fall behind at Perpignan. And Tommy Allen's made an impressive start. The Italian out half.
But a good heads-up rugby there. He looked up, and who was he up against? Varley and BJ Bota, 2 front row forwards. Any back with this is going to want to attack 2 front row forwards with good quality ball.
Ian Keatley. That's a long restart. And it's gone out behind the corner flag. But yeah,
they haven't chosen anything yet.
By Keatley, obviously. But Perpignan really tried to develop their style. We talk about Munster developing their style. Perpignan, under their new coach Mark Delpaux, have tried to develop theirs as well. And a much more attacking intent.
But when someone like James Hook, he's trying to utilise his talents. He's not playing today, but generally, I think his signing will help that change, a shift in playing philosophy.
6.
Perpignan team's always led by a dominant set piece, big, heavy pack. Now they're trying to get that ball alive, trying to use some talent. With got like some Jitoun in that back line, and James Hook, he used that talent in the back line.
Don Leo's been sacrificed for this scrimmage, and Guillem Guirado back after injury. He broke his thumb 6 weeks ago. An experienced French international is Guirado. 18 appearances for his country to his name.
Bind! Sit! Yes, 9.
Pick up by Narroway, and Giron to Geoffrey Michel. A tackle by Dougal. Tried to spin himself onto his feet to attempt to reclaim the ball. And now here is Votu. Steps inside O'Connell, does enough to get hold of him. And that is Tommaso Benvenuti, the Italian international, off the bench for Houghton as he gets that blood injury seen to. Taufifenua, 20 stones of loose head. Just bundles the ball forward. Now Tommy Allen to Strokos. Ball a little bit behind Lefemi Maffei. Put the centre under pressure. And who's there but Sean Dougal. Perpignan deciding
knocked back by Red
to go through the middle. In the meantime, now it's Guirado. He scored a try in 2009 here against Munster. The only try they managed that day, and that defeat Tommy Allen on the inside, but he's met by a thick red line. Here is Benvenuti. Tackle by Downey. What could almost have bounced off the rolls. And it's Nicola Giron. Caught high there by Keith Earls. And certainly JP Doyle was very quick on the whistle. And how much is Giron making
Just go away. Just go
of
away.
this. They
Just
certainly
go away.
know
Go
how
away.
to play
No.
to the crowd down
Don't
here.
need to. Come on. Come on. Just accident.
He's not the
High
biggest
tackle.
of men.
High tackle.
And he's also going to the ground a little bit when he got
Okay,
tackled. He's certainly high tackle.
I want you to take them in here, and I actually do want you to say this to them. We're not missing it, we're refereeing it, okay? So you need to get these guys, if they come in,
Look like
they're
it was
gonna leave the
actually
field.
the ball
Let
caused
me
them as
referee
much
the game.
damage as
Referees.
the arm
No.
coming in from
Hold on,
Earls,
hold on.
because the
Referees
ball
go
was
speak to them.
sandwiched
Right.
between forearm and chin.
He was quite low at the time as well.
I have no problem with what that was, okay?
It was a swinging arm, but he
They're
swung
coming in,
his
I've
arm
told them
and
not to
bounced
come
up.
in. Just listen.
Best of
These guys are
them.
not to run in at all. Leave it to me.
Well, they're
Is it
called the
penalty?
blood and gold in
Let they all-
Perpignan. They're
let they
certainly a very hot-blooded support.
On y va.
I think that's about right. It's a penalty. No more. What is that? Indifference. And sometimes when you have these back, return the fixtures a week later, whether the same cycle happens the following game. And last week, Perpignan were given a lesson, a sobering lesson at the breakdown. They're losing the collision, they're losing the ball at the breakdown.
Demeters,
and they're only
keep
winning a
going.
slow ball. They are getting a lot quicker ball in this match.
Stop screaming for holding, by the way.
So Guirado goes to Naraway. Taken by Guirado. Ball was actually taken by Vahamahina. And then Benuti was going into scrum half, but again Munster in a very kickable position here for Perpignan have given away the penalty, and it looks like both sides discipline has the potential to really bubble over here.
A couple of players are losing it out there.
Side entry 4.
They create more of an issue than it actually is. Always just being aggressive with the breakdown. What this does do, man, it does put pressure on the officials.
Stop.
For an offside position, got to go through the gate.
Well, to go back to what Rob Tenney was saying about taking control physically and mentally, I suppose if you're
Yes.
going to take control mentally, one of the things you have to do is attempt to stay calm in the cauldron.
There's not much evidence of calmness and composure on that field at the moment.
No.
It's in pressure short supply.
It's Tommy Allen who came through the Wasps Academy to increase this Perpignan lead. And they certainly haven't yet taken the heat out of the Catalans. Well, he struck it well. James Hook has been kicking majestically for Perpignan this season, and his replacement, Tommy Allen, is maintaining that theme.
Expected goal kicker, that's some madness all around you. It's so important that the goal kicker maintain his equilibrium. And it might well be, even with all the ferocious tackling and the big hits going in and the intensity of the breakdown, it's the side that shows that a little bit more composure at key moments as the side that comes through this game.
An improvement on the restart for being Keatley that time after the previous effort. Duran to Strokosh. And Nicola Duran back to Tommy Allen, and Sheridan was off the blocks very, very quickly indeed there to attempt to put him under pressure, but a decent clearing kick under that pressure.
It's an impressive game so far. A really impressive game as Tommy Allen, even under pressure and good pressure from Sheridan. Good distance with his kicks.
May have flicked a few fingertips on the way through there. And they're taking a long time over this line out. Roman Terrain just going to his forwards to make certain they understand the call. And it's Vahamahina who flaps it back to Giron. He's Strokos again. He's taking on a lot of balls so far as Ali Strokos. Now it's Tommy Allen. Oh, he's got so much confidence. It's Tommy Allen. And it's Benvenuti gets away from Felix Jones' tackle. But the sweeper was there in the form of James Downey. Giron, Dan Leo. He drives into BJ Boda. And they're trying to hold him up here. Casey Loilala doing some good. And they formed a human papoose in that confrontation there at Munster.
Well, Loilala and Varley did exceptionally well to keep him up. Really good at that tackle. And just that movement before, Loilala sold himself, got picked off by it very easily to allow Perpignan to attack down wide channel. So got to be careful of that. You can't freestyle, do your own thing.
Another thing these days with the way matches are refereed, the referees need to make sure they've got powerful batteries in those units, because they need to last a long time. Missed tackle there though by Felix Jones.
Also poor decision making by Casey Loilala as well. He redeemed himself for the tackle following in it.
Tell her now, Gosh.
Felix Jones missed his tackle as well. And again, a lot of that was done in fact that Casey Loilala jumped into the line and really didn't take anybody out. He picked off very easily.
Well, Munster actually beat Perpignan on their way to their first Heineken Cup triumph in 2006, 1910 in the quarter-finals in that year at Lansdowne Road. So a lot of history, these two teams. They've met 8 times.
Yes, 9.
6 wins for Munster and 2 for Perpignan. Good, strong, powerful, impressive scrummage, and a penalty written all over it.
It's a big psychological boost. You see BJ Boda very happy there on the tight head. It's a big psychological boost for Munster. That's how you take the sting and the tail of what has been a very good performance by the Perpignan pack so far. Ball carry in particular. Now you take that out of the opposition's legs, you make them scrum hard.
Yeah, we should point out that a victory here for Perpignan puts them right back into this pool, because they've Edinburgh away, which is winnable, and they've Gloucester here in their final game.
Very much back in this group if they win this game.
And at the moment it's Perpignan who are applying that scoreboard pressure. They have survived the opening assault from Munster, who really came out hard and fast, taken by O'Connell. Perpignan sacking the line out. And JP Doyle has decided there's an infringement there, so the arm is out. Here is Keatley. Johnny Murphy is after this one. And well defended by Benvenuti.
Brilliantly well defended by Benvenuti. What a super kick by Keatley as well. Plenty of height. Exactly the right position, but it was advantage being played by JP Doyle. Man out in the air. Vahamahina taking Paul O'Connell out. But a beautifully weighted kick, plenty of height under pressure.
Are you?
It's in good position as well. Murphy probably not the tallest of wings.
And you remember how that worked so well in the Gloucester game, that exact cross kick, Jan, which led to a try.
Yeah, it's worked really well. When done accurately at the right time, really creates all sorts of problems in the defence. But that time, Benvenuti spot on in his defence, really well caught.
Well, Ian Keatley put in a very similar cross kick in the big Irish derby, the Munster-Leinster game, which was delivered perfectly into the bread basket of Keith Earls for a score there. So it's a clear and obvious tactic from this Munster side, which they have deployed with some efficiency this season. So here is Keatley getting no peace from this Perpignan crowd, and maybe this time his concentration was disturbed.
disappointment etched all over Keatley's face. I have to admit,
Can't jump over the line, can't jump over the line.
Munster will be looking to respond and get their scoreboard moving as well.
Tommy Allen. Oh, Sheridan there, he stopped the ball on, and well, that was very sloppy indeed, because there was no pressure at all there. It was such a long restart that Munster had plenty of time in defence there to sort themselves out.
Well, I guess you want a clear call. Who's in charge? At the moment, he just moved away. The ball should have been early and clear. He gave the... He's going to catch it time and space. Well, as you said, there's no real pressure. There's no chase as such. Good opportunity for Sheridan to the ball deep down into Perpignan territory. Now it's a great attacking position for Perpignan.
Well, that was certainly in the sloppy category for Munster there.
Set.
Vortu starting just behind the scrum. Let's see if he comes in.
Here is Narroway to Nicolas Giron, and here is Geoffrey Michel, takes on Loilala on the outside. Giron to Dan Leo. Both gentlemen have served their time in the bin. Peter O'Mahony and Roman Terrain. Off goes Vilaseka. Vilaseka thunders into the 22. And now it's Tommy Allen. Here is Sofiane Jitoun. Jitoun to Benvenuti. Plenty of red numbers there across defending. But there's a penalty for not releasing. But you must watch Jitoun so closely. 8 tries already this season in the top 14 and 1 for France.
He's very strong, really difficult to get down on the floor. No centre of gravity. These men big ball carriers, they're big pack. We've seen Vahamina carry, for the sake of that time carried well, really effectively, pulled defenders out of position, and that allowed G2 to attack the wider channel. But really good work by Felix Jones here. Goes in really quickly. He and Vardy and Downey really strong and quick. And that breakdown forcing the penalty.
Varley to O'Connell. Very well executed line out from Munster, and then the drive to get those critical extra metres. The only problem is it's taken them outside the 22, so they cannot kick directly if it's his back, so they go through the forwards. Here's O'Mahony. The captain is back. Well, this crowd sees everything. And JP Doyle says not releasing, and yet again it's a penalty given away in a crucial area of the field.
Great work by Vahamaina there, in really hard at the breakdowns. Big powerful man, so difficult to budge. Once he's in the right body position, in that jackal position, so difficult to budge. He is huge, and again he's going to get hit by 2 or 3 Munster jerseys. BJ Bota can't budge him. Really good work at the breakdown.
Well, Perpignan are 9th in the top 14, more defeats than victories, including losing the last 3 in a row, 4 defeats in a row in all competitions after the Munster loss. Stade Francais and Clermont have won here in the league this season, but on this form they're looking like a pretty formidable unit in front of their own crowd.
When you play these back-to-back games, that week after tournament pack doesn't allow you to work on aspects of the game you might have been weak or come off second best in. And last week they certainly came off second best at the breakdown. They've been a terrific response. They've analysed it. They've looked at what they were doing, their body positions, how effective they are, how intensive they are at the breakdown, and really have stepped up considerably from last week at Thomond.
Tommy Allen has hooked this one. Well, he was looking so comfortable in that 10 shirt for Perpignan up to that point.
The ball had left the line out.
That's a poor miss. Come on, he's had a strong game so far, but that was a poor miss.
Munster, as I was saying, Perpignan 9th in the top 14. Munster top of the Celtic League, 6 successive wins in the Pro 12. Currently 4 points clear of Leinster. And they've only lost 2 games all season, bizarrely almost, to Treviso and Edinburgh. Here is Dan Leo. He's got a chance here to build up some steam.
A bit of steam coming in as well.
Strokos. Turned by James Downey. Nicola Giron to Tommy Allen. Into the tunnel where Lafemi Matthew waits. And now here is Vautou. Across comes Johnny Murphy. Oh, he's missed Vautou. Felix Jones does not miss the DJing.
He needed to make that tackle. Vautou very strong.
Well, they're off quickly here in Munster.
Forward.
Ian Keatley launches it downfield.
Okay.
Benvenuti's back covering. And now it's Geoffrey Michel. He's only got Alistair Strokos in support, so he decides to take on the defence himself. Now it is Strokos to Turin. And Turin does well to beat the first tackler. And then picked up an open play.
Tackler.
O'Mahony to Casey Laulala. And it's Donnchadh Ryan putting in the clearance kick. And that is going to work out fabulously well for the big second row.
Tackler got to street playing the ball.
Yeah, it was good and bad there. He didn't particularly want the ball to go to Donnchadh Ryan, but he did very well to get that kick away. With a turnover ball, he wanted to get that ball from 2-3 hands quickly and counter-attack. It would have been a very effective kick by Donnchadh Ryan. There's a bit of blocking going on, lots of blocking around the moment.
Well, the reason why play was allowed to go on there was the tackler who then got up and played the ball. So that's within the rights, and Vautou, good strong run by him to get away from the first defender there.
En route.
Vautou's enjoying ability to run off quick balls, which he wasn't last week. Very dangerous for the ball in hand Perpignan at the moment.
Narroway taking that line out ball. And it's the British axis again with Strokos.
Tackle, roll!
Giron, he decides for a couple of minutes to go to half-time to go for touch, but he's found only Johnny Murphy. Now it's Felix. Oh, he's totally sliced that one, Felix Jones. It only went about 7 metres. Here is Johnny Murphy again. At the moment, there's not a huge amount of precision about this Munster performance in some areas. Here is Keatley now to Peter O'Mahony. Now Keith Earls made over 70 metres down in Limerick. Now Keatley once more to Paul O'Connell. He batters his way through a couple of tacklers, as he's done thousands of times in his long and illustrious career. And Munster have won a penalty at the end of it.
There's a lot of blocking off the ball. Both sides have been guilty of that time. Peter O'Mahony got away with a blatant block. So Vahamina do it a couple of times as well. Now they got away with one by the officials. It does build up the frustration for players as well. Vahamina coming in from offside, couldn't resist it. Again. Good feet by Earls.
Never onside.
He has that ability of really quick feet to beat the man.
Yeah, man of the match last week was Keith Earls, although he did say after the game that Munster are about 30% short of their optimum level. Even though they won by 36 points to 8. So here's Keatley. Enjoyed a successful summer on the emerging Ireland side in Tbilisi. Will he enjoy a successful penalty attempt here? And again, the answer is no. And is Keatley crumbling ever so slightly in this phenomenal atmosphere in Catalonia?
That does, Johnny. It's intimidated in place. Yeah. Pressure being exerted, not only by the Perpignan team, but by the crowd here as well. Create a lot of noise.
Of course, you get perfect silence at Tobin Park, and you get the antithesis of that here.
Thank you, Kitty.
So here is Keatley. He's got to settle down after those 2 big misses in what looks like it may be a very tight game here. And it's Geoffrey Michel who calls for the mark. and his captain calls for him to put the ball into touch, which he does. Well, it's been tight, it's been pretty titanic, it's also been feisty at times, but it's Tommy Allen who's made the difference between the sides at the break. His 3 kicks, 9 points to Perpignan. Munster guilty of missing. Well, the Catalans do enjoy their cracks at the doyens of European rugby, and Munster are definitely in that category. And Perpignan perhaps are recalling that dark day for them a few years back when Munster came here and crushed the blood and gold and romped back home to Limerick with a try bonus point in the rucksack. There's a lot of work for Munster to do in this second half. They've missed a couple of kicking opportunities. And in a stadium like this, an environment like this, it's so crucial to put some pressure on the scoreboard on a side like Perpignan. Taken by Cronin, good work. Very mobile, dynamic, loose head prop. It's Keatley now to Peter O'Mahony, and O'Mahony just gets through the first offender and then sets the ball on the front foot for Jimmy Downey. Now it's Casey Loilala, and here is Felix Jones, and he's got Johnny Murphy in support. Botu and Jatoun try to haul him towards the touchline, but Munster have kept the ball in play, and well, Dan Leo was grabbed over the ball, but it was Ali Strakos who was in possession there at the breakdown, so they are going to get the put in to the scrummage.
Well, that came from a terrific box kick from Cathal Sheridan, really high-hanging kick. And also now you see the value of Casey Loilala stepping off that line, looking for the offload, and that's what the likes of Keith Earls, Felix Jones and Johnny Murphy have to learn. Pick your angles off someone like Loilala, who so often takes out defenders and creates a hole for attackers to run through. You've got to come offline, you've got to pick those angles. He will create opportunity. He has terrific handling ability and ability to step offline. At times we've been critical of Munster of being too lateral, but Loilala has the ability to step offline and cross that line and create the opportunity. Players have to pick up on those angles, and that time Keith Earls read it beautifully.
Well, Gloucester play Edinburgh tomorrow, and the Cherry and Whites have thrust themselves back into the mix after their Murrayfield win last weekend. Kingsholm becoming a much more stormable fortress these days, but Munster know that their round 5 visit there could be a virtual pool decider, but only if they can keep the rubber on the road in the meantime and come back strongly in this second half.
One aspect, the scrum might well allow him to do that. Wally was talking about in the studio, a very positive aspect for Munster in the first half. And to create pressure, Perpignan ball deep in their own 22.
2 new props this week for Munster in Cronin and BJ Bota. So Rob Finney really freshening things up in the world of the mushroom growers, and another great show of the scrum. And look at the pressure it has put on Perpignan here, and they are left scrabbling and scrambling about in their own dead ball area.
And you see the power coming through there from Munster. That Munster scrum really putting Perpignan under all sorts of pressure. Nicholas Durant under all sorts of pressure, trying to get that ball away, scrambling, trying to find an opportunity to get that ball away. G2 with a hopeful speculative pass on the inside. Disastrous there for Perpignan, but a great attacking position now for Munster.
Well, Perpignan has some absolute beasts in that pack, but of course scrummaging isn't always about size. Technique plays a major role, as Paul Wallace will tell you, and at the moment it's Munster who are dominant in this facet of the game. course, it's one of the elements that the Munster fans adore about their side, is forward dominance. The power of the pack.
Johnny Murphy there standing right behind Ian Keatley. The decoy runner, or is he going to take the ball? Or is this going to sit in the scrum and a drive from the pack?
Well, with the scrum going so well, this is a great attacking opportunity. And again, they are controlling this drive, and they get the penalty. Penalty number 1, and JP Doyle holding up his finger there. And I wonder how many of these it will take before he considers a penalty try, because Munster did achieve that goal last week with a penalty try from a drive against Perpignan in Limerick.
2 good scrums back to back as well. The seed is already in JP Doyle's mind. There's no but to be pressure on the referee to make a decision for Munster. They want to keep the pressure on Perpignan, and also there's a decision from JP Doyle.
Well, BJ Boda does appear to have Taufifedua's number on that tight head side for Munster. No Soani Taumalolo, he's suspended at the moment. Sent off playing for Tonga against France for punching. They're missing him, it would seem, on the evidence of this. Colin controls at the base. Colin drives, and another penalty is conceded. But the referee decides a try was not probable.
Guess what's coming next? Another scrum. No respite here for Perpignan. But it's also now about discipline as well. They carried away, white line fever.
Well, they know they've got Perpignan in a trap here. And the key is not to allow Perpignan to escape from that trap. Can they tighten the grasp around those Perpignan throats now?
The crowd here, the noise is deafening here. Desperate to galvanise a defensive stand from Perpignan.
You fancy Munster don't want a whole lot of resets here. They want to keep the momentum going against this Perpignan side. They're smelling blood. The blood and gold. Right are doing their best here with their cries of USAPs. But it may take more than the crowd to halt Munster here on the evidence of what we've seen from these scrums. And now they get a free kick. And you would imagine they'll have another scrummage.
Certainly from a free kick, no option. They're going to go for another scrum now. They don't want to let go. After not really taking the opportunities that came their way in the first half, Munster want to get something.
Well, there'll be some roar if Perpignan do manage to find an escape hatch from this situation. You feel Munster must take full advantage of what they have here. It's a third penalty in this tranche of scrums.
Okay, in the first half, I penalised Munster for not stationary. These guys have to trust me that the ball will not come into the stationary, and then we'll scrummage. No, pass the message or not. Pass the message or not. There you go.
You get the feeling JT Doyle is becoming irritated here and frustrated with what he is seeing in this Perpignan scrum. And frustrated and irritated referees have a habit of running underneath the posts.
They want an exit out of this as well, because this is creating pressure in all sorts of areas, and the referee on both sides as well. referees want to make an easy decision.
Well, they've got to make sure this ascendancy ends up in points. And here is another massive drive from Munster. And JP Doyle does do what we suggested he might do and take up that position underneath the Perpignan post.
In the end, that decision was going to come, as he said, bound to come in the end. The pressure being exerted on Perpignan on the scrum, going backwards at the rate of knots. Klopp losing his footing there.
Well, BJ Bota, a really strong central character in that act, that chapter of the game. What an important chapter it could be. Because the marker has been well and truly set down. And Ian Keatley, after a couple of misses, was never going to miss that one. And now we have a turnaround here.
All the control at the back, but the damage has been done at the front. Cronin, Valley and Bota enjoying their afternoon here at the Stade Micheral.
Well, maybe that was the beginning of the physical and mental imposition from this Munster side that Rob Penny said before the game was so important. This is Sheridan. A lot of height on that. Up goes Narroway. Keith Earls really committed himself to the ball in the air. Nice Sheridan to Keatley. Now James Downey. We've only seen one of his really powerful direct runs really so far in this game.
Yeah, that's quite right. You don't want Downey running across the field. He needs to run north to south.
And that kick going east to west and finding its way into touch.
That's not where Downey's effective. You want him to run straight, not across the field. But yet another excellent box kick from Sheridan. There's two he's made back to back. Again, what happened now, Munster are winning the aerial battle in those box kicks as well, getting in good field position.
Did the ball hit the foot of Benvenuti? Yes, it did. But it's Dan Leo who takes that line-out ball, and Tommy Allen on the switch to Botu. Nicola Giron to Tommy Allen. And off goes Lafemi Mafe, played in a Heineken Cup final for Munster. With Ruatapoki in midfield. What a midfield combination that was. Mahamahina, scruffy ball. Propelled backwards, and now here comes Johnny Murphy. Geoffrey Michel. Tight angle, trying to create some sort of angle, and Murphy's going to catch him here, and Dougal is straight in there like a good flank forward. But it's Giron, it's Dan Leo. Little pop, and Nicola Giron again has to work hard on the ground to reclaim the possession. Sofiane Jitoun goes in at scrum half. Ali Strokosh, and here is Lafemi Mafe. Or Larry Murphy, as he was called in his Munster days. And that has gone a long way, an awful long way, and are Perpignan beginning to show the signs here of being rattled.
A little bit sloppy here from Perpignan. A couple of errors. They're compounding the errors with more. They're really putting themselves in all sorts of pressure. Now it's about Munster taking the opportunity being created by these really poor decision making from Perpignan.
Shame they missed those two penalties in the first half from Ian Keatley. Donegal Ryan, didn't expect Donegal Ryan to last the full game or anything like it. Straight back into the team without an A game after injury. So Donegal O'Callaghan comes on. Good take by Paul O'Connell. Line out functioning much better today. And Collins functioning brilliantly too. And he wasn't held in the tackle, was he? Oh, he was held. He was held. And JT Doyle gives the penalty, and such a shame because they were right on the front foot and moving at pace.
Very dynamic there from Colin.
He was brought to ground and he rolled
Good
away.
yards.
Got back up.
And good defence. Strokosz in there. A few times in the game now, Mr. Strokosz been really strong with the breakdown. As is Norway. And they have stepped up that aspect. They were a tall second best last week at the breakdown.
Tommy Allen there getting a bit of spray on his leg, and with James Hook being rested and Cammy Lopez being injured, what will they do if Tommy Allen is forced off? They're running out about halves. And here comes an impressive player on for Perpignan, Jean-Pierre Perez. I think he impressed you last week.
Oh, he was very good last week. He, along with Voto, probably one of the two players who stood out for me from Perpignan as matching the Munster intensity last week.
And now they've got an out-and-out open side on Perez. There wasn't a tremendous amount of balance to the back row they selected with Leo Strokosz and Narroway, but now they've got a real jackal and mongrel at the breakdown in Perez. And a man who really puts his heart into Perpignan. He's been here for a long time. And they get a penalty from that forward drive. Paul O'Connell reacts to something that happened in there. And Perez is going to be spoken to.
Après les cibles, c'est tout, c'est fini, là. Two, bowling it down, number 2.
I think Perez remembers last week. He's sitting with some residual effects from that defeat last week at Thomond. And Perez and Villaseca has also thrown himself around.
Tommy Allen, he's still stretching that hamstring as he waits for the kicking tee to arrive.
He's the one who's doing his goal kicking from 40 plus yards.
You remember Johnny Sexton against the All Blacks. He'd been carrying a spasming hamstring injury in that game, and maybe that affected him too with that critical kick at the Aviva Stadium. And is it now going to affect the kicking of Tommy Allen? He's still stretching it. What he needs is a very quick yoga class.
I don't think it's at the atmosphere where yoga's at home here at Stade Amy Giral.
Well, all the way that was missing the left-hand post. So Munster cling on to this precious 1-point lead.
When they're on the pitch before the game, the wind was swirling a fair bit out there. Well, that's having an effect on the kickers.
Ian Keatley, there's a lot of height on that ball, gives the forwards plenty of time to attack the ball, and it's Sheridan now, and Johnny Murphy's on the chase after this. Here is Jitoun. So much pace, so much confidence in his game at the moment. Geoffrey Michel, and that's a good ball to Benvenuti. Perpignan absolutely prepared to attack from deep. It's been one of their trademarks this season, is this sense of adventure. Here is Giron, Tommy Allen now. And now Votu, he's such a strong man. He's beaten defenders through this game. And now it's Perez. This is better from Perpignan. Tommy Allen to Mappy, set up for O'Connell to hit him. Did well to spin away.
O'Connell did really well to identify an opportunity to jump out of line.
Tommy Allen runs into Cronin. Giron to Tau Fifanua. 5'10", 20 stone, doesn't usually move quickly. Taken on and driven on. Here is Tommy Allen. Benvenuti, Tommy Allen once more. That wraparound we've seen before. Here's Geoffrey Michel. Clearing it out, but there's no scrum half there. So Laulala is able to pounce legally. Now, turnover ball. It's a long way back. It's O'Callaghan, and now it's James Collin. But G2 is there for Perpignan. G2 now he steps away from Felix Jones, and then he steps away from Cronin.
Does beat the first man very easily.
Tommy Allen needs the bounce. Keith Earls, he hasn't got the bounce, and now it's Motu. Great recovery as the tackle came in from Sheridan. Now it's Geoffrey Michel. They're all lined up to the right-hand side for Perpignan, but not releasing there at the base of that pile-up. And they're off quickly through Nicolas Giroud, and it goes out to Girado. He tried to flick it on to Vaha Mahina, and the ball goes backwards. G2. Can they hold their man up this time? Giroud from the seated position gets the pass away to Villaseca. Giroud again on the inside to Lafemi Mafi. He'd love to score a try against his old club, the club he loves so much. This is Giroud to Tommy Allen now. Oh, it's a poor pass behind Luke Narroway. And a knock on, and they've busted an opportunity.
Two opportunities I think they've blown there. First from the quick tap from Durand. G2 impresses me. His ability to beat the first man. A couple of loose kicks from Munster, and allowed G2 to launch two counter-attacks back-to-back now. He always beats the first man. Good yardage, low centre of gravity, very hard to pin down. It does remind me of Philippe Saint-André. And this kick, you never know with this surface as it is, very pitted surface, that ball can bounce anywhere. Munster be really relieved. And a pass that didn't go to hand, really poor execution from Perpignan. That's where composure is so important. The opposition 22 in the red zone, you have to take your chances.
Especially in a rather tight encounter like this one. Well, Munster have recorded some wonderful away triumphs in the Heineken Cup. Castra multiple times. They put 50 points on the Saints and Milton Keynes, I remember, when Simon Zebo pointed out his arrival with a hat-trick. Toulouse, they've beaten Leinster in the semi-finals of 2000 and 2006, beating Leinster in Dublin. Gloucester in the quarter-finals a couple of years after their first victory in the Heineken, and Leicester more than once. So they've got tremendous pedigree in environments like this.
You go back, you delve into that well of experience in those sort of occasions. I don't know many of the players won't have been there. There's still one or two who would have been. And you looked upon these players, these leaders, to inspire you in these moments.
Well, O'Callaghan and O'Connell have been there since 1932 or thereabouts. Now the scrum, of course, is an area where Munster have had a critical dominance in this game.
But the psychology when you're in the opposing 22 as opposed to your own, vastly different.
Big Donegal, his 93rd Heineken appearance. Peter Stringer reached his 100th appearance in a European competition, playing for Bath this weekend. Peter Stringer, who scored the winning try on that 9 shirt worn by Sheridan in the 2006 final against Biarritz. And they've managed to turn the scrummage, but they've whipped it, and it's a penalty to Munster, so they do get their exit.
Totally frustrated at that, allowed an opportunity for Munster to clear their lines, to maintain their tightness. And there's an opportunity now for them to clear their lines. Try for Peter Stringer in that game as well. Back the blind side of the scrum. Not known for his try scoring prowess. but that try was priceless.
It's a pretty priceless clearing kick as well. What a great yardage game from Keatley.
Not in technical terms, kick, good nudge.
Well, we're sitting beside the Perpignan coaching team here up in the commentary position. They're about 2 feet from my left elbow, and they are going apoplectic. Still in the line out though. Here is Tommy Allen to Botu. Now Maffey. That little step we saw so many times in a Munster shirt. Draw. Here's Maffey once more. Now Botu. Ball in 2 hands here from Botu. Just testing the defenders. Maffey look forward from this angle to Vahamahina. If only slightly. Tommy Allen once more to Ali Strokos. And now Tau Pipanua. Now Jacques Michel. He's got Granado on the outside. Strong run from Granado. Thumping his way through Keith Earls. Tommy O'Donnell, Munster's player of the year last season, is on. He's back after injury. Off goes Granado again. Munster trying to get over the ball there, but they've only succeeded in conceding the penalty. Cronin.
Yeah, James Cronin penalised that. They're enjoying a period of ascendancy here. Munster get out of their own half. And they get a good quality quick ball, which is allowing the likes of Botu. Good yardage.
And then they're jacking the ball. No, but they got to show clear release. Okay, so if they're going to go for it, they need to show clear release before. We've had penalties. I'll have to get rid of someone. Talk to them.
But allowing the tackler, allowing the tackle player to release the ball. They have to release the player. And sometimes you get defenders now practically clapping their hands to show their hands.
And it was actually Kilcoyne who's managed to sneak his way onto the pitch there. There he is, number 17. Now replacing Cronin. So not the sort of impact from the bench he would have hoped to make.
I don't know if Kilcoyne was part of that tackle or not, but any question mark on how there.
Well, both kickers have had their disappointments in this game. Can Tommy Allen return to form just in time? Oh yes he can, and Perpignan slip back into the lead.
There's a lovely kick. Look, you can see Perpignan with width. Using those powerful runners. You saw Botu carried on. We talk about exit strategy. You launch Keatley out of the tackle.
Ian Keatley's restart.
Tackle 6.
In goes Durand. And Geoffrey Michel with the clearing kick for the blood and gold. Try score last week in the final minute against Munster was the Perpignan fullback.
Well, not the distance you'd have wanted.
Varley. This time he does find his man. It's the captain O'Mahony. Now James Downey running hard and then offloading to BJ Bota. Here is Donegal O'Callaghan. Met by a white wall this time. Sheridan to Varley to Casey Loilala. Well-timed pass from Varley. O'Connell stands and waits, and it's going beyond him to Dave Kilcoyne, who is very explosive from a standing start. Here is Felix Jones, man who's recovered from 6 serious injuries Still only a young man. Now Kilcoyne, he is up for it. Stand up and fight, they say in Munster. Well, he's doing just that. And now it's Johnny Murphy for Loilala. And he was put under pressure. And now the Perpignan coaching team rise to their feet as one and punch the air here.
Poor decision for Johnny Murphy there. No need for the missed pass. No need at all. It was 3-on-2. No need for the missed pass. Ball should have gone through the hands. Stubborn defence from Perpignan there. Not prepared to yield too much ground. Really making the ball a little bit slower for Munster.
Munster at the front.
Jurado finds Narroway at the tail. And it's
Broke off.
Villacheka who is penalised. And now the Perpignan coaching staff all put their hands on their heads like some sort of version of the Three Wise Monkeys.
Obstruction there. Just blocking. One of the tail. Narroway. Again, no one in front. Again, just blocking. And there's no Munster players part of it.
These men.
Our maul there. And up again becomes obstruction.
Well, Munster so far, they lost to Edinburgh. Patchy performance to say the least at Murrayfield after a good start. And then they beat Gloucester and Perpignan. That defeat in Edinburgh could yet be a very painful one for them by the time we reach the conclusion of this pool. But a victory here will put them into a really strong position. Now, can they build some more scaffolding through the boot of Ian Keatley? And he strikes the ball through the cacophony of noise, and this time it does not disturb his concentration.
Yeah, good kick. Very similar to the Tommy Allen penalty earlier on. Good solid strike under extreme circumstances and pressure.
Well, David Marty's coming on, a real Perpignan veteran. He spent 10 years at the club. He scored a try in the 2009 top 14 final that they won, and also on is Justin Pearl, who won 4 Italian titles with Calvisano. A real veteran, been around a few clubs as Justin Pearl, started last week, and he's off the bench now.
He's a good line forward as well. He put a bit of pressure on Munster's line out.
Sheridan, low trajectory on that one, and it's Justin Pearl gets his first touch. Now Michel. And the chase, and surely a knock on from Justin Pearl there. So the advantage goes to Munster.
Take him back in, knock on advantage.
Felix Jones plays scrum half, and Keatley puts a probing little kick in with a decent weight on it. And here is Jitoun, dangerous. And Jitoun is after this, and it bounces poorly for him and into the arms of James Downey.
And Munster a little fortunate there, kicking loosely once again to Jitoun. See how dangerous he is in the counter-attack.
Sheridan, and Tommy O'Donnell's after this one, but Benvenuti takes that, then he takes O'Donnell, who spins to his feet, attempts to contest the ball at the breakdown there. Here is Strokos. And now Vaha Mahina, the new Caledonian French international. 21 stones of him. Tommy Allen, Taufifenua, and he's fumbled the ball. And that's good pressurised defence from Munster to force the error. Dave Kilcoyne was there sharpish.
I think a little bit of fatigue as well there. But are looking dangerous when they're going wide. Good pressure.
Not a great moment for the Catalonian cannonball. Sebastian Taufifenua.
He's a big man. Plays in the second row as well.
Yeah, he's out injured at the moment. They do have quite a long injury profile at Perpignan currently. although some players are returning, like Guirado and David Marty, key men in the Perpignan ranks.
Obviously, Tom, as you mentioned, Famalola will come back as well.
He's free to play for Monday for the Perpignan visit to Castres, the top 14 next week. But of course, the focus right now is fully on the Heineken Cup and fully on the referee's whistle there as he gives a penalty to Perpignan. The heads are getting hotter again.
And there's always been a little current, not even undercurrent. It's been very evident throughout this game of tension, frustration, and a bit of anger now and again.
Number 3, let go was fine.
BJ Boda was penalised there. He's been effective in the scrum for Munster for most of the time.
Sometimes though, Shell's put the touch, not really gaining that many yards. An opportunity there to keep deep into Munster's 22.
The Perpignan so far, they lost to Gloucester, took a late Johnny May try to beat them at King's Hope. They beat Edinburgh here with a try bonus point. All 4 tries in the second half. They were very sleepy and sloppy in the first half against Edinburgh. And Dennis Hurley is on. He scored one of the tries here in 2009 in that 37-14 victory. It's Perez who takes the line out. He's got the look of a pirate, hasn't he, Perez? And it's Guirado drives on with Strokos pulling him in the direction of the Munster line, and they get a penalty, and this is kickable this time.
Very kickable. Good position.
20, collapsing more.
Good kick this. That kick the touch a little bit closer to the Munster line. That would have been threatened. Now, he hasn't seen much of the Perpignan drive at times. Have it in their locker.
What a good drive that was. Really got some purchase going forward. And the only side to have consigned the Frenchman to back-to-back defeats in rounds 3 and 4 since 2001 is Munster. And here in the image here now, they do not want that to happen again. And this kick, with just 7.5 minutes to go, might well be the difference. Big moment for the youngster. And the youngster has failed to deliver. Well, he looks astonished. And certainly the crowd behind the posts feel that it may be worth another look. And is J.P. Doyle thinking the same way or not? He looks confused.
Munster kick the dropper as soon as possible, but so often these kicks go high. There's no point watching from that angle. It doesn't show anything. The ball's been kicked so high these days, they go over the posts.
You remember Pierre Villepreux was at Toulouse, he made the posts taller for that reason. They could have done with some higher posts here. A controversial moment perhaps. This is Nicolas Giron to Tommy Allen. David Marty, all that experience, and Vahamahina, he fumbles the ball and he fumbles it forward. Well, the clock is not the friend of the blood and gold right now.
We do have these big ball carriers in the pack. Vahamahina, you've seen Tao Fifanua as well. When you are in those outside channels and you are blowing a little bit tired after a very physical encounter, and this has been a very physical encounter. Very tired bodies, you start to make errors, you drop the ball.
I'm just wondering how many Arsenal players might be watching this game. They seem to have joined the Munster fan club. Photo on the Munster website of Mehmet Özil, Santa Cazorla and Lucas Podolski in Munster strips and Munster head guards, though we hear the link is Jerry Flannery, the former Munster hooker, who is now the strength and conditioning coach at Arsenal. But I could see Mehmet Özil as a playmaker at out half, perhaps.
That'll be great in the contact area.
No.
But some playmaker.
And he might be expensive. You may have to go through the salary cap to get Özil on board. Well, it's become incredibly tense here in Perpignan. And tense for both sides, because Perpignan know that they must win to maintain an interest in this pool. And then it does look good for them. It could possibly open up. There is a potential for them to get out of this pool with a win here.
Once they beat Perpignan today, they take Perpignan out of this group. Perpignan win this group, as you said, wide open.
Sheridan to Keatley, to Jimmy Downey and Casey Laulala trying to bust through the hole. Tackle by Tommy Allen. Off goes Sheridan and O'Mahony on the switch. Better little passage from Munster. Sheridan, oh, and there were defenders waiting around the corner. But they've done well to recycle. Here's O'Connell. He'll always get you a couple of metres. Now it's seeing Keatley once more, but again, the defence was sound on this side. Plenty of white shirts there. Off goes Varley. Varley driving towards the 22. Again, they explore the blind side through O'Mahony. And there's been a fumble forward, and Jatoun the kick and chase. Again off this hard surface, it favours Munster, and away goes Keith Earls. The pace he showed last week against Perpignan when he scored a breakaway try. And the crowd are claiming that Keith Earls held on to the ball too long there. But they are not going to get a penalty, but they are going to get a scrummage.
Brilliant tackle by Nicolas Durand on Keith Earls there. Looks as if Keith Earls has got out of trouble. You've got to be careful. Those kicks downfield, you don't allow the ball to bounce. Good little interplay here, good period. Again, Casey Laulala take the ball up. Lovely little passes of play here. Sheridan using the ball carriers to get over the gain line. But again, Peter O'Mahony of all people, so effective at ball carrying, gets turned over. That is a brilliant chase and tackle by Durand. He's always, you put the chase in, don't allow the team an opportunity to relieve that pressure, keep the pressure on.
A rather angst-ridden Rob Penny there looking on. Alongside Axel Foley and Simon Mannix in the coaching box here, or coaching bench as it is.
He's surrounded by a management team of both sides here. The tension is palpable.
There is Mark Delpux, the Perpignan coach, who's done so much to try and shake things up in Perpignan this season in the way that they play. Can Munster hang on here? And every reset takes approximately 30 seconds. And of course, much to the chagrin of many, they don't stop the clock for these things. And Munster, being a very professional outfit, will understand all of that, you can be sure. The one thing they do not want to risk is giving away a penalty here.
Exactly that, Ronald.
So we're all holding our breaths now. Good scrummage by Perpignan this time. Is Sofiane Jatoun bringing their strike runners in. Now it's David Marty and now Geoffrey Michel, and it's Benvenuti! And at last, joined up thinking from Perpignan, which might be enough to shatter the Munster dreams.
JB Doyle asked to see where the pass was forward. But that was a brilliantly taken try from Perpignan. Attack off the first phase, off the scrum. Giton once again pulls in defenders. He's such an attacking threat. Full back pass and attack those outside channels. A terrific try. In the most extreme of circumstances, under this sort of amount of pressure, basically the game was going to be won or lost in these next 2 minutes. Two men went for one man there. Keith Earls, Casey Lallana, you can see he was pointing at Keith Earls to stay out. Keith Earls stepped in, and then two men went for one. Again, needed to stay out. So Dennis Hurley stepped in as well. He wasn't sure whether Keith Earls was going to be able to take his man. So they both ended up going for the same one. Poor communication on wide there in defence from Munster, but a brilliantly taken try by Perpignan. And they set this crowd alight.
Well, it's a crushing blow for Munster in terms of qualification from this pool. They've only failed to qualify for the quarter-finals once in 15 years.
Early and Earls going for the same man, and then allows Benvenuti to score out wide. Again, there was an opportunity. You could see Casey Lallana pointing, gesticulating at Keith Earls to stay out, and he had his man covered. He's so tempting now and again as we kind of step in, thinking he can take man on ball.
Glorious execution by Perpignan. You have to admire it, especially considering the tension of the occasion and where the clock was. To execute like that, well, it's what sides like the All Blacks do so well, producing a try absolutely when they have to.
Take that back, exactly that. At key moments, and you're able to produce what's required to win you a game. That comes from training time and time again, doing the same thing. Jonathan Michel carries the ball, takes out Keith Earls and Dennis Hurley. I'm going to go back to that tackle also by Nicholas Durant, who created the turnover to begin with. That tackle on Keith Earls, great chase downfield, forced the scrummage, which allowed that try to come.
Keith Earls being looked after by the medical team, who took a big bang there. But Perpignan, they do have pedigree in this competition. They reached the final in 2003, where they lost to Toulouse in Dublin. They beat Leinster in the semis at Lansdowne Road. They also beat Munster here on their way to that final. 23 points to 8 it was on their home turf that day. A lot tighter this time, but the result now looks like it might be just the same.
Looked dangerous out wide. Whenever they had the quality ball, allowed them to tackle wider channels. They've looked dangerous.
Well, 17-13, so a 4-point game.
Also got to applaud the fact that instead of trying to go for the penalty, they went for the try.
Oh, he struck it well. Has he managed to just creep that one inside the post? And it's a very similar kick to the previous one. But he has not been able to add what might yet turn out to be a critical extra 2 points, because there is time for play to resume. But it's a try. It's a try that Munster need. Nothing else will now do into the final minute. Here comes that Catalonian intensity, but Munster have to put into the scrummage. And are we going to get a thunderous climax at the Amy Giral? A stadium that deserves a climax like that. It's a wonderful place to play rugby.
Paul O'Connell was not going to get budged away from that tackle. Steadfastly repaired, he didn't take it at all, and that created the turnover and one last opportunity. 4 points down, a minute left on the clock. In a similar position, Perpignan scored a try.
Well, they looked a little bit passive and disinterested last week in Limerick. They look a long way from that now, a million miles from that, in front of their own fans. Fans who are demanding that they close this one out. And it's only going to take one more error by Munster, and that will be it. Taken by Johnny Murphy. Difficult ball to take. He fires it behind Ian Keatley. And then the ball is put to turf by JJ Hanrahan.
How often we've seen that from Munster? Poor passing, poor skills under pressure.
Didn't go forward though, critically off a Munster hand. So off they go again through Keatley. Plenty of red numbers on the far side. Johnny Murphy. Now here is Dennis Hurley. Dennis Hurley, and it's flicked inside to Hanrahan. And Hanrahan scores for Munster. A mesmerising climax to this game in Perpignan. They've eventually managed to slash their way past that Perpignan defence.
Touch, please.
What the final 5 minutes? And you felt that Munster blown their chance by some poor passing. What a response!
Touch. Checking touch.
Well, we've got to suck it in for a moment because we've got to check this through the TMO. Great work by Dennis Hurley. What an offload that was to Tommy O'Donnell. And he kept the ball alive.
Oh, Tommy O'Donnell, take a bow. Brilliant skill, lovely step.
How many times have we seen Munster rescue
JP.
impossible situations?
He was not in touch.
Okay, thank you, Kenny.
What a way to finish a game, and what a way to win a game. What a response, and all sorts of pressure. They felt they'd given, the game had gone out of their grasp. They weren't prepared to give up. They still believed. And it's two of the younger players, the likes of JJ Hanrahan, beautiful step to get over. O'Donnell as well, to stay in field and get the offload. And look at those faces of Perpignan. Devastation and euphoria on the faces of the Munster players. That's how we respond to what was, to all intents and purposes of Perpignan, a winning try.
The Heineken Cup, it blows your mind. It does it again and again and again.
Stunning victory. Absolutely stunning victory for Munster. Yet once again, that's that Amy Giral. You dig deep.
And nobody digs deeper than Munster. History tells us that. Ian Keatley with the curving conversion, but it matters not. Munster at the death of beaten Perpignan with one of the most incredible climaxes that you will see in this competition. It joins the